Mister, you just scared a year's growth out of me.
Shut up and get off of that horse.
Just what do you got in mind?
I want your horse.
Well, now, you ain't got the politest way in the world of asking for it.
Quit jawing and get off of that horse.
No, I don't believe I will, unless you think you're man enough to come down here and pull me off.
I don't have to come down there. I can shoot you out of that saddle from right here a dang sight easier.
You mean you'd actually shoot a man just for a horse?
I declare. Outside of me, you're about the talkingest person I ever seen. Now, I'm just going to give you a count of 3 to get off of that horse. 1, 2...
All right, little man. Here we go.
Body down or I'll slit your throat.
Later, maybe. Right now, back into bed.
I'll tear you apart with my bare hands.
If you don't mind, I'm going to go up and talk to Jim. I'll be back in a minute. I want to ask you something. Did you break out of jail in Virginia City?
There ain't a jail in the world can hold Jim Layton when he sets his mind to get out of it.
Last night, you told me your name was Jim Smith.
Last night I wanted to get out of here and you wouldn't let me.
If you ever lie to me again, I'll beat you to a pulp the first time you're able to stand up.
Why don't you just go stick your head in a rain barrel if you can find one small enough to fit it? Anyhow, what do you care what happens to a half-breed?
Jim, when that doctor and I took the slug out of your leg, your blood looked the same as everybody else's to me. Now, you're going to take this medicine whether you like it or not.
Why don't you take it yourself?
All right. You want it the hard way, you'll get it the hard way, big boy. Why, you son of a gun.
Get away from me, you big ox! Get out of here!
You're going to take this medicine, I have to stick it in you.
I don't want any medicine for you. Medicine for you.
I was just trying to get him to take his medicine, Paul.
You better tell this big ox to leave me alone or I'm going to pound him on top of the head till he ain't 2 feet tall in his high-heel boots.
Too bad Aunt Little Joe went here. Although, after watching you two eat, I guess there wouldn't have been anything left for them anyway.
I'll tell you something, Paul. It's a real pleasure to have somebody in the house that makes me feel dainty.
Sometimes it ain't no pleasure being a big man, is it, Hoss? You know, I've been a battling men all my life just 'cause they wanted to knock me down a little bit.
Well, I have a lot of paperwork to do. Jim, you got something to keep you busy?
Oh, I'll stick around with old Hoss here. Give him a little advice if he needs it.
Well, I can sure use it. Change of scenery do you good, too.
I'll tell you what, little feller. Let's check out these scratches I made for you.
Sure hope you built them strong enough to hold me up.
Well, they was before you had breakfast.
How much would a rig like this cost a man?
Oh, about $200 in Virginia City.
With or without horses?
Well, a strong team of horses cost a man another $400, imagine.
You mean tell me that it cost me $700 to drive out of Virginia City in an outfit like this?
Yeah, maybe even more. The way prices are going up.
Whew. You know, if you'd told me that you could shrink iron, I'd have had to called you a liar.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't, little man, because if you had, you know what I'd have had to done? I'd have had to stuck your tongue right down on that hot iron.
Just as soon as I get off these sticks, I reckon I'm going to have to show you who's the king of the mountain around here.
Well, I'm going to be waiting, little fella. Don't you worry about that.
700. $100. Man, it's an awful lot of money for a fella to lay his hands on, especially if he has to do it honest.
Yep. But it could cost you a whole lot more if you try to do it otherwise.
What did I tell you about being friends with me?
You stuck that thing in there an inch and a half.
Yep, I'm a little rusty.
Well, I think I'd rather take my chances at 6-shooter. After that puny breakfast we had this morning, I gathered some walnuts, you know, son. Oops. Hey. See you hit that. Wow. Wouldn't be much good for skinning, would it?
I don't use it for skinning. Got another knife for that. You know, prime beaver takes special handling. Kind of like you and this here wagon wheel.
You figuring on going after more beaver when your leg gets well, Jim?
Yep, if I can find me a big enough wagon and a stout enough team to pull it.
You gotta have a wagon and a team to trap beaver?
No, but I'm sure gonna need a rig if I catch up with them engines that went and stole that load from me and Mr. Carter.
Yeah. You just remember one thing. I promised that sheriff that you'd stay here till he let you go.
That's what you told me, little man.
That way, you'll be able to still tell us where you hid them pelts.
Why don't you ask him Paiutes?
Look, Cal, now you've seen what you came to see. Why don't you just clear out?
What are you so touchy about, Cartwright? You make a deal with him to split those pelts when he goes after them?
You're asking to get hurt, Cal.
If I wasn't hobbling around on these, why, I'd paint your head off.
If I had it to do over again, I'd shoot both your legs.
Jim! Jim! No, Jim! Stop it, Jim!
Tell you, he should have stayed in jail.
Okay,
It's an animal.
Get out of here.
Why'd you do that, you big ox?
Because you'd have killed him, that's why.
Sure, I'd have killed him. I'm a finisher. Any man that fights Jim Layton knows that.
Well, you better be glad you didn't finish off Cal and Stacy.
I told you once before that I can fight my own battles. Now help me up here.
Well, I can see right now, Jim, that one of these days I'm just going to have to plain beat that honest out of you.
Yeah, and when you try it, remember what I said about being a finisher. Say, me and old hoss forgot our noonday meal. I come back after it.
Mr. Cartwright looking for you and Mr. Hoss. He goes south range. You see him?
No, that's where Adam and Little Joe's are working. What do you want?
Sheriff. He come. He say if they find Mr. Carter's body, want you go to town.
Mr. Carter's dead, huh? You sure?
Very sure. Shot him back.
Is that right? Oh, when you fix that grub, why, maybe you better make enough for 5. We run into some other fellas out there this morning.
All right, fix 5 more.
Good. Oh, don't take too long, huh?
You told Jim the sheriff was looking for him, didn't you?
Yes, sir. And that you go look for him in South Pasture.
Howdy, Jim.
Howdy, big feller.
You got enough grub there for an extra?
Yeah, you never can tell when Prince is going to drop in. Pull up a chair. You only got here a couple hours earlier, and you could have helped me load my pelts.
Well, sir, if you'd invited me back at the Ponderosa, I'd been happy to.
Help yourself.
Looks like good stew.
Want some coffee?
No, thank you.
All right, out with it. What are you doing out here?
Jim, how many times have you told me that the Indians stole these pelts?
Well, they'd have done it, too, if I hadn't hit them first.
What are you figuring on doing with them?
I'm going to take them to Kansas City and sell them.
Jim, I got no mind to use this, but I will if I have to. I had to get the drop on you because you're so blamed fast with that frog sticker.
I told you once before, Hoss, don't you never start nothing with me unless you're a finisher.
Well, why don't you try me out and find out whether or not I am?
My bare hands against that gun?
Against my bare hands.
Now I know why you come up here all alone. You want to find out who's the king of the mountain.
These pelts, Jim, they come first.
You mean you want them for yourself?
If I can whoop you, we'll take them back to the ranch and let my paw judge what to do with them.
There ain't no way you can whoop me.
All right. If you whip me, then you get on this wagon and you head east. And I'll claim I never caught up with you. Bargain?
There ain't nothing that'll stop me short of murder. Now hold on. Don't get in no rush. I don't hold with fighting on a full stomach.
All right. First thing in the morning? It's gonna be a little dandy.
Yeah. You look like you've been in a fight anyhow. You ought to see yourself, big feller.
When you gonna head east, Jim?
I ain't a-heading east.
You ain't? You earned the right.
I wish I could, but I finally found a man that I couldn't whoop.
You couldn't whoop?
I just happened to come to before you did. Hoss, I ain't never gonna lie to you again.
Jim.
I never. But Cal Stacy and that lawyer of his is sure gonna try to make it stick that I did.
Don't you worry. You'll get a fair trial, and you taking those pelts back in on your own, that's gonna help.
I don't believe that, Hoss, but you're the king of the mountain.
Let's go.
Well, that does it. Let's go.
I've been doing a little thinking.
You sure do things the hard way.
Yeah. Now, Amos Carter was killed. Shot in the back, mind you. Now, you didn't kill him. And you say you chased the Indians off an hour or so after he left.
What are you driving at, anyhow?
Just this. If you didn't kill him, and the Indians didn't kill him, then who did kill him?
Well, maybe somebody that stood to make some money out of him being dead.
That's exactly right. Like Cal Stacy.
Hey, you've got muscles in your head.
It don't take muscles to figure that Cal Stacy would be the only man to benefit from his death and yours, and that's how come he's been accusing you so.
Hey, maybe we better have a little talk with that gentleman, huh? Look, Charlie.
Senses, Cartwright. Brought him back. Must have been quite a battle, didn't it?
No battle. As a matter of fact, when we learned who killed Amos Carter, why, old Jim came in as peaceful as a dove.
Well, we know who killed Carter. Get over to the sheriff and tell him that Leighton is here.
Why, Cal, now you know dadgum good and well the sheriff's out there scouring the whole countryside for us now. But he's looking the wrong place, ain't he? I'll tell you what, Mr. Nelson, you go on over there and you wait for the sheriff. And when you see him, you tell him that me and Jim's got Mr. Carter's killer all plucked, dressed, and cleaned.
You heard him? Get.
Oh, no, you won't. Matter of fact, that's why Jim and me came into town. We want to talk to you, Cal. Kind of private like. Why don't we move over here to this other table?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Just what do you think you're doing?
I'll tell you, Cal. Me and old Jim ain't much on talking. Especially when there's something we want to hear, right, Jim? Now, why don't you just tell us how you killed Amos Carter?
You two must have beat each other senseless. I don't know what you're talking about. Just put me on.
Put it down.
Look, I'm a free citizen. I can do as I please.
You're a murderer.
You know, Jim, I saw a funny thing one time. I saw a couple of cowboys get into a scrape. And you know what they done? One of them took his boot heel just like this. And he came down just like this on that feller's instep. Boom! He crippled that poor feller so he hobbled around the rest of his natural life.
You won't need this no more. You know, Hoss, it's real interesting what a fella can learn just from watching other people. It's like you watching that cowboy with the busted foot. I lived with the Crows for quite a while, and they taught me all about scouting. I ain't never had a chance to use that lesson yet.
Tell you what, Jim. Wouldn't be fair for me and you to tear up old Bill's saloon here with Cal, so I'll cut cards with you to see who takes him outside.
Nah, you take him, Hoss. I got a terrible temper, and, well, just be our luck winding up with nobody to try for Mr. Carter's murder.
But, Jim, Cal here accused you. I think it'd be fair if you took him.
No, all right, go on, cut him.
rascal. You beat me fair and square. Well, you go ahead and take him, Jim, and I'll just hang around here and wait for you.
This ain't gonna take too long. Come on, Bart.
Wait a minute, what are you gonna do?
Now, Cal, sure enough. Ain't you got something you'd like to tell us?
It was self-defense. We quarreled over the pelts, and I shot him, but it was self-defense.
You was shot in the back.
Your lawyer sure is gonna have a dandy time. Well, Jamie's yours. Why don't you take him?
I ain't much good at words right now. Well, there ain't a whole lot of people that I'd say this to, but you know, Hoss, you're a real man. Almost my equal.
Almost your equal. Why, you big overgrown
All right,
got
you
to
two, look, haven't you two had enough of this?
Just 'cause this outside son of yours thinks he whooped me in a little old fight.
Little old fight. I'll be nursing these bruises for 6 months from that little old fight.
Well, when you get your health back, why don't you come on up to my mountains? You know, this here low altitude sure has been bad for my wind.
Jim, you have yourself a good trip back, and stay out of the way of them Paiutes here.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Cartwright. Oh, say goodbye to Adam and Little Joe for me, will you?
I sure will.
By the way, when the sheriff gives you my money, why, just take out the price of my horse and outfit.
Oh, never mind about that. I'm going to charge that to his account.
Jim, so long.
You know, Hoss, even from up here, you're a big man.